What's going on? Welcome to BRICKEN Garage. I'm Sam, and unfortunately my partner Jaren is not here today because he is concussed. And that's not very cash money, but what can you do? Anyways, today what we're doing is we're starting the process of slamming this thing. It's a 454 1976 3/4 ton. And today in part one, we're gonna be cutting the front coil springs and trying to lower this thing probably 8 inches in the front. The ride is going to be absolutely crap, but what can you do? We're trying to make a cool looking whip over here. So you can follow along and I'm going to show you what to do. So if you want to do this to your truck, you can do it too. So the first thing you're going to want to do is throw a jack under here and actually lift up your truck. Always use jack stands because that's the safe thing to do. So we're just going to lift this up real quick. Always use jack stands. All right, so the next thing you're going to want to do is obviously just take off your tire. Let's roll this out of the way. The next thing you're going to want to do here is actually just take off your shock, which is this. So we're going to take this nut off and this nut off. So the next thing we're going to do is take off your sway bar here, and that is this piece. So you're going to take off that nut, and there's another one just like it on the other side, because this will let it fall down after we take out the ball joint. All right, so we got the sway bar off here. So the next step and the final step before we can take the spring out is to take the nut on top of the ball joint off. That one right there. This one might be kind of a pain to get off, but we'll see what we can do. There is a cotter pin in there, so we'll have to take that out. The cotter pin actually broke off. So now that we've got the nut off here on the ball joint, we need to separate the lower control arm from the spindle here. Now remember, this is very important you have tension on the spring with your jack here, because that spring, especially if it's a stock spring, will have a lot of tension, so be really careful in this step. Now you just let this down really slowly and let the tension off that spring really slow. So you don't want that thing popping out on you. All right, so we're all loose here. We're just gonna take that spring and cut a couple coils off and slap her back in. 1 inch off the spring equals 2 inches on the car. And you always cut off the flat side. You don't cut off this side because that is tapered in there and that goes in the top. So we wanna do a 6-inch drop. So the formula is 2 inches for every one on the spring. So we want to cut 3 inches off the spring. Now, that's going to put us right here. So I'm going to cut the spring right there, and I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side, and that'll give us a 6-inch drop in the front. Always remember to wear your safety glasses when you're cutting. I know it may not be very cool, but it's also not cool if you lose your vision, so got to keep that in mind. So now this thing's cut, so hopefully it's the right size, and we're just gonna put this side back all together. All right, so now that we've got the spring back in there, we are gonna get this ball joint back together. Just gonna put the nut back on the ball joint here. Putting it together is gonna be quite a bit easier than it was to take it apart. All right, so not gonna lie, putting that nut on there took me about an hour, and that is because it's my first time doing this, and I forgot that the ball joint is tapered, and you'll notice that when you take it off, so it actually presses in there. So you actually have to clamp this together really tight, or else this bolt here will just spin. So make sure you do that. All right, so we got the sway bar back on, the shock is back on, and spring is cut. Ball joint is good to go, so we're just gonna put this tire on and lower down and see how this side looks. All right, so we got her all on here. Now it's the time we've all been waiting for. So it's not quite as low as we want, but it's pretty low. The other side is still high, so that'll definitely make a difference. All right, so that was the first one there. That was about a 5-inch drop. I wish it was a little more. I might actually take it off and do it again, but that's okay. I'm gonna do the other side now and then show you guys the finished product. So I'll see you when I'm done the other side. All right, so got her all lowered here. We did both sides. I'll just put up a photo of what it looked like before. Now it looks like that. So we dropped her, I'm thinking probably 5.5 inches or so in the front. I'm pretty stoked. Did this all for free. Obviously the suspension is gonna be absolute trash, but that's okay. So you can see the difference between the front and the back here is pretty good. So anyways, that's all for this video. Part 2, we're gonna be doing the back, and then part 3 is just gonna be doing the exhaust and some other little things. So yeah, thanks for watching, and make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.